Now, the prime suspect in the disappearance of Madeleine McCann is in court in Germany today as his trial for a string of separate sexual offences begins.
Christian Brueckner is already serving a prison sentence for rape and is being accused of 5 offences in Portugal in the 2000s.
He's never been charged in relation to Madeleine McCann's disappearance, despite a German prosecutor believing he abducted the 3-year-old in 2007.
Well, joining us now is former Metropolitan Police Detective Peter Bleksley. Very good to see you, Peter. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. This is a significant trial. It's a different kind of trial, isn't it, as well? Can you explain to us what is about to happen?
Very much so. Bruckner is facing 5 charges of rape and sexual assault, all of which these alleged offences took place in Portugal. Yet a German court is hearing this trial. And the German court will be very different from a British court. There is no jury. It is judges alone sitting in judgment of the evidence. And whilst the trial starts today, it actually is paused at the end of today. There are 29 dates set aside for this trial to be heard, and the court will be sitting for many weeks, only 1 day a week, which is why the conclusion of this trial will not actually come until June.
Remind us of his connection, and I say just connection, to the Madeleine McCann case, because he was singled out as a suspect. There was a lot of interest, you know, a couple of years ago. Some of that seems to have fallen by the wayside. What's his connection to the case? Well,
Christian Brueckner is a convicted sex offender and rapist and a convicted burglar. And he lived a bit of a drifter's lifestyle down in Portugal on the Algarve in the lead up to 2007 when Madeleine disappeared. He lived in a camper van for a lot of the time and lived a real kind of itinerant crime-committing lifestyle. A couple of years ago, a senior German prosecutor called Christian Wolters went public and said words to the effect of, "He's our man, but we can't prove it yet." And what's happened in the ensuing time is that clearly no substantial evidence has been gathered. Henceforth, he has not been charged in connection with Madeleine's disappearance.
That is a real concern. So therefore, they will find evidence to support their hypothesis rather than working the other way round, if that is true.
But I mean, they haven't actually been able to find that evidence.
No, indeed. But are you not concerned that he said that openly?
I am always deeply concerned when an investigation is about searching for proof rather than searching for truth. And we all know from historical cases over here how sometimes that's got the police in very hot water, has led to convictions, only for those convictions to be overturned later on.
And those offences took place in Portugal, but he's being tried in Germany. This is to do with EU rules, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And clearly the German court has been granted jurisdiction in order that it can hear these offences, as opposed to him being moved to Portugal for a trial. But of course, he is currently serving jail time in Germany for other offences, and he's due to be released in a couple of years' time if he's not convicted for any of these cases that start today.
The bigger picture here, she has been missing for years. 2007, she goes missing. Where is the investigation as it is now? Are people actively pursuing lines of investigation? Are we any closer to finding out any more information about where she's gone? Presumably, with every year, finding evidence gets more and more challenging.
Well, we're talking about no less than 3 investigations: the Portuguese, the German, and the investigation Operation Grange, conducted by the Metropolitan Police. I'm certain that Metropolitan Police detectives will be attending this trial, particularly if Brueckner gives evidence to see if he's tripped up by any clever cross-examination, for example, and gives anything away. But the answer fundamentally to your question is, it would appear there have been no huge steps forward in that investigation, but I'm sure the Germans and the Met will tell you that it's still very much ongoing.
How does a case like this develop in terms of funding for it when there are no significant real leads, no suspects with any real evidence?
Yes, well, they're often beholden to any government that will provide them the funding for it. The Met have been granted a lot of money over the years, which some people call into question, saying, well, why doesn't another missing person case get all that substantial funding? And that's a debate that rages on, as do the conspiracy theorists, of course, online, unfortunately, who I'm sure must continue to cause some hurt and upset for Madeleine's parents.
I'm sure, and we've spoken about this before, the poor parents have been dragged through this, haven't they? Because many people are saying, well, I'm sure they're guilty.
They most definitely have, and there's been some wicked speculation and words spoken online in particular by people whose experience of gathering evidence and searching for people or things extends to looking for their misplaced car keys.
Yeah, Peter, we'll watch that trial with interest. Thank you so much for coming in.